yeah, there is nothing more effed up, than to completely pretend that his words and actions have not been recorded and in existence for the last decade.
I think the president's rhetoric often foments it. We've seen the January 6th rioters who clearly, have tripped a new era of political violence. And the president, what did he do? He pardoned them. I mean, what kind of signal does that send?
Democrats facing fresh fallout for stoking division in the wake of the assassination of conservative commentator Charlie Kirk. Joining us now with reaction is Michigan Congresswoman and House Republican Conference Chair Lisa McClain. Congresswoman, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So you're an elected member of Congress. You're also a member of the leadership team as conference chair. What is your assessment of Charlie Kirk's impact on American politics?
Charlie Kirk was a great human being. He was a good father, he was a husband, but he was also a wonderful voice and advocate for the conservative movement for young folks. I take a look at my daughter, who's 22 years old, just graduated from college. He was a role model and an idol and a voice for conservative young people, especially on college campuses. And she told me one thing this morning, not this morning, the morning after. She's like, Mom, my voice will not be silenced because this has happened. It has only incentivized me to know that my ladder's on the right wall and I am on the right track.
Some Democrats have used some really harsh rhetoric in recent weeks and months. Let's play it and I'll get you to react.
This is what kicking the out of fascism looks like.
Try to prevent the spread of the lawlessness and the fascist chaos that's been unleashed against us.
So when we say Donald Trump is a fascist, fascism, a huge component of fascism is uniting racism, bigotry, a form of racist nationalism.
Are those words dangerous, particularly if someone's mentally ill or disturbed?
They're not only dangerous, but they are disturbing, right? And what I don't understand is we are supposed to be leaders, and it's our job to tone down the rhetoric. This man was a father and a child. And a father and a husband, had 2 young children. And this is what the left is doing. I don't understand it. We have a problem in this country. We have an ideological problem in this country, right? We have one that believes in law and order and the other that believes in lawlessness. And what the Democrats are doing right now, if they can't beat you on the issues, they can't debate you on the issues, they have to personalize it, man. You're a fascist, you're a racist. How about just talk to me on the issues and debate me on the issues? Leave the personalizations out, but they can't because they know they are on the wrong side of all the issues. And I'll share this with you too. I think the American people know too. And all you have to do is look at one side holds a vigil and the other side stokes the flames and burns cities. It's really simple to see the contrast in America between good and evil, right and wrong, in the Republican Party and the Democratic Party.
Utah's
right
governor is calling for lowering the temperature. Let's play him.
We can return violence with violence. We can return hate with hate. We can always point the finger at the other side. And at some point, we have to find an off-ramp, or it's going to get much, much worse.
I want to be fair. Some Democrats have struck the right tone. Is that the right tone after such a devastating loss this week?
That is the right tone. But until we have some consequences to some people's actions and we have law and order in this country, unfortunately, we're going to see more of this. And what I ask yourself is, what type of individual can dehumanize another person for free speech? Mm-hmm. That is the very thing this young man was angry about, was free speech. It's one thing to disagree. It's another thing to murder somebody because I don't agree with you. So let's focus on the issues. Leave the personalization out there. Debate me on the issues without calling me names. Let's try that.
Some members of Congress have been targets of political violence. Your House Oversight Chairman expressed this concern, and I'll get you to react.
We're all concerned right now, and I think we all know that the political temperature in America is too high. I think both parties can accept responsibility for that.
Has new guidance gone out from your leadership team and Capitol Police about going forward, and are there conversations taking place about more security for lawmakers?
You know, at the end of the day, there's conversations taking place, but words don't stop bullets. Words don't stop threats to human life. There has to be some action and it needs to be taken. All you have to do is look at Steve Scalise, look at Brett Kavanaugh, look at the lawmakers in Minnesota, and now look at Charlie Kirk. You know, actions need to happen and consequences need to happen, or unfortunately, this is not going to end.
Okay, to your activity in recent days, you've been out talking to folks about the working families tax cuts package. I'm curious what the reaction's been like from constituents.
It has been overwhelmingly successful, right? It's our job and my job as the #1 salesperson, as the conference chair, to go out into these communities and talk to average Americans, talk to business owners, talk to waiters and waitresses, and see how the policies that we're crafting in DC actually have an impact on their life. And the only thing I can say is it's exciting. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. Actually, Americans being able to keep more money in their pocket is an absolute good thing, right? When I tell them, would you rather keep more money in your pocket, or would you rather do what the Democrats do? And every single Democrat voted to raise your taxes. Every single Democrat voted to raise your taxes. Or do you think we should give more money to the government? Overwhelmingly, people are saying, gee, I think I'd rather keep more money in my pocket. I think I'm a better steward of the money than giving it to the government. So we're trying to bring those stories to life and highlight those stories and really correct the other half of the truth with the Democrats out there just flat out lying about what's in the bill. So we're going to keep doing it, and it's been a success.
Chairwoman Lisa McClain, thank you for coming in. I hope you'll come back.
We will. Thank you. Enjoy your day.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.